Well, my first impressions here are pretty low. To start with, everything was just kind of haphazardly thrown in the box. And also, they sent a single inlet dual outlet muffler. That's obviously not going to work in this application. Aside from that, though, everything does appear to be correct, at least just kind of looking at it at first glance here. I'm also not overly impressed on how they put the sticker. This is actually the tailpipe. This is the part you're going to see. And the way these stickers are, they don't come off very well. They also had a sticker on this piece here. This is the part that goes up towards the cat. And this piece obviously goes inside the muffler or whatever other piece we're using here. Not sure yet, haven't got it put together. So I just ended up taking my torch and burning them off. That's what I'm going to end up doing to the tailpipe section too. Well, now I got the right muffler in finally. Never mind the crappy looking paint right here. That was my doing because it came with a big gouge in it right there. So I just painted over it to help prevent it from rusting. The muffler is kind of interesting. It's a TB442. It's a Thunderbolt muffler that comes with it. And when you look at it, it's obviously very heavily based on the Flowmaster series mufflers. I think this is equivalent to a 40 series. I did a little bit of research on these, and apparently Flowmaster's patent ran out, so people are allowed to copy it. And you look inside, and it's a chambered muffler, just like the Flowmasters are. So this should give us a pretty good sound. So now as far as the quality of the exhaust goes, I'm kind of iffy on that. When you start putting these pieces together, never mind the lines, it's just, I like doing that when I do exhaust. That's basically the fully inserted line, and then this one here is the minimum depth that I want it so the clamp actually has something to grab a hold of. But when you put everything together, it's really sloppy. I'm hoping the clamp will prevent any leaks from happening. This one's really bad. It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. But then when you come to these pieces here, which are supposed to go over the axle, it like doesn't even want to fit. And it looks like there's actually a little bit of a lip inside of here from where they cut it. So I'm going to file that off and see how it fits. But as far as the fit and finish goes, as of this point right now, I'm going to give it about 1 star. Pretty crappy. Alright, after about 5 minutes of filing, now it fits just about as crappy as the rest of it. Awesome. So I've got it all mocked up here on the floor. This is basically what we're looking at. That's up by the cat, little extension pipe, muffler. Looks like I'm going to have to take that sticker off too. And up over the axle, and then the tailpipe. I wanted to point this out too. The quality of the welds is just mind-blowingly good. I mean, they almost got it. I'm sure it'll hold though. So before you even get started, you're going to want to take and drive the truck over a nice snowy road so that when you're under here trying to work on it, you get all kinds of salt water and stuff dripping on you, and you know, that falling in your face really makes it convenient. And if yours is anything like this one, you've already made modifications to it, or somebody has, because the flange gets all rusty and the bolts break off and it becomes useless. So this is actually 2.5-inch pipe. I already went to the store and got some adapters and stuff, so we're going to have to do a little bit of custom work to make this exhaust match up because that flange is now useless. But I'll show you what I end up doing here once I get it figured out exactly. Also, be prepared to get a couple more of these little exhaust hanger thingies. One of mine was salvageable, this one here. And as you can see, these here, these are the closest ones that I could find that the holes were pretty similar. It's kind of a pain to get it over the little head there, but obviously it will go. And that's the part number for the ones that I picked up. They seem to work. So rather than make you all watch 3 hours video of me struggling, I figured I'd just skip that part and just go straight to the finished product here and give you a little advice. So there's really no good way to show you on video how to install any exhaust system, really. You just gotta kind of mock it up a little bit, kind of get things loosely snugged up, just enough to kind of hold it, realign things, keep checking. I had various different jack stands all underneath here to help hold different pieces up because I was doing it myself. A helper would help out a lot, but I didn't have one. So anyway, what I did, like I mentioned, the flange thing, if your flange still exists, you're probably not even doing an exhaust like this because it didn't rust out. If you are doing an exhaust on one of these trucks, the flange is probably gone, so you're going to probably end up with something like this. This is a 2.5 inch to 2.25 inch adapter. This is just a piece of just regular old 24-inch section of tailpipe swelled on one end to go over this piece where the flange was that I cut off. Because if you remember, that piece had that flange here and that little ring that bolted up to the flange on this side. So I cut all that crap off. So I cut this down, it goes back into about here, probably about 5, give or take. And, it's nothing pretty, but it'll work. These clamps here. And just go on back. There's the isolator that I replaced because it was junk. But this is pretty much what it's all going to look like when it's all done. That clamp up there is a real treat to get to. And now looking at it from the back, we go up over the axle and out to the end. So as far as installation advice goes, like I said, just jack stands, a helper is definitely beneficial. And just take your time with it and be patient. Don't get in a rush because then you're going to end up having exhaust that rubs on cross members or rubs on the frame, vibrates, whatever, and it's just not a good job. So now as far as my opinions on this exhaust system, first off, we'll start up front. The whole idea of these exhaust systems is a cheap replacement for an otherwise rusted out truck because, obviously you have to have an exhaust system for safety and legality. And given that the flanges are probably all rusted off of these trucks by now, we're looking at an 02 to 05, so, some of them are over 20 years old now because it's January of 23 now. They really should have just made it to where you don't even have to use that flange, where it'll just clamp onto this somehow, figure out some other method. And as far as the fit and finish of the rest of it goes, I've already kind of covered that a little bit. Some of the joints were just super sloppy. I mean, you can see just how much of a gap there is in there. That's pathetic. And then there was the other joint that I actually had to file on it in order to make it fit. So I'm going to give it like maybe a 3 out of 10 on the fit and finish, just because for the most part, the pipes did line up pretty good. The tailpipe looks pretty good. This area right up here just really sucked. This piece here just isn't quite bent right. This part here should have been bent more towards the driver's side. You put this together and you'll see what I mean. This piece here isn't bent very well. Obviously I got it to work, but it wasn't without its struggles. Overall, kind of a pain. I don't know if it's really worth the money I spent on it, but it's in here now, so we're just gonna run it. We'll see how long it lasts. It's aluminized, so hopefully we get a good, 10 years out of it, but we'll see. And I know it might seem like I'm kind of nitpicking a little bit here. I do understand that this is not a $1,000 performance exhaust or anything like that. It's nothing fancy. It's just some cheap crap I got off eBay. But I shouldn't have to spend 20 minutes between burning the stickers off and filing off edges of the cuts and all that stuff. I shouldn't have to do all this extra work just to get this installed in the vehicle. They really should have done a better job with it. I'm pretty disappointed as far as the quality of workmanship goes. So I was going to do some before and after sound clips, but I figure before is kind of useless because I think everybody at this point knows what a V8 sounds like when the exhaust falls off and ends somewhere like, up there under the driver's seat. So I'm just going to do some after sound clips. Now the engine's fully warmed up, and I'm going to rev it a little bit. It's actually pretty quiet in here. You can hear it. Got a nice little tone to it, let you know it's there, but nothing too serious. Not obnoxious or anything. Just enough noise to let you know that it's a V8, but nothing obnoxious. Just a nice little tone to it. I'm pretty happy with the way it sounds. Definitely happier with the way it sounds, more so than the quality of the workmanship. But I guess you kind of get what you pay for.